Hello everyone, it is Tiffany here, and today I want to talk about this thing that I often see people getting stuck in, and that's the choice or the decision to choose being happy over being right. Now, before I get to that, I just want to remind you to head over to removemylimits.com. Right now you can get a 1-month free trial of the Limitless League, so I can give you all the tools and tricks that you need to rewire your brain so that happiness is an automatic choice for you. So in every communication we have, especially when it comes to conflict and negotiation, people often being happy or being right. When we are talking to a friend or a family member and we have a disagreement, we have the choice of choosing between happy and right. When in any time that we disagree with someone, those are our two choices. Now, choosing to be happy oftentimes There we go, my Wi-Fi dropped out for a second. So any conflict that we have, when we choose to be right over being happy, that accelerates the breakdown of communication and the relationship. When we choose to be happy, we feel the need to point out where other people are wrong, point out where other people have let us down, point out where other people have made mistakes. And this can be big mistakes, or it can be little things like grammatical errors or spelling mistakes. When we choose to be right over being happy, we are looking to validate ourselves and prove that we are worthy enough and we are good enough to have whatever it is the conflict is over. It is oftentimes a non-confront or something that we go to, a behavior that we go to avoid being proven wrong. Because in so many people's minds, when you're right, that means you're good enough. Right? We have this fear of being wrong in society because that means we're not perfect, we're not good enough. It further exacerbates any limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves. And it doesn't do anything for our relationships. If I constantly chose being right over being happy, I would never personally grow because I wouldn't be able to take on feedback from other people. I wouldn't have any empathy or compassion because I don't care what the other person's perception of an event is. Now, the reason that a lot of people don't want to choose being happy is because they feel like they have to just lay down and roll over to the other person. You don't have to agree with the other person. You don't have to not set a boundary with the other person in order to be happy. What I'm saying is being right all the time keeping you stuck? And for a lot of people, it does. It breaks down marriages, it breaks down friendships, it breaks down family communications, and it stops you personally from growing. I'm speaking from a place of total knowing here because I was a know-it-all for so long, and the only way that I felt good enough in myself was to continually show that I was always right in every situation. I knew everything and I was always right, and there was nothing you could tell me that I didn't already know. I didn't grow a lot during those times. I was stagnant and I was stuck because, and to be honest, nobody really wanted to have a conversation with me because I was never willing to see their point of view. I want you to know that there is no such thing as reality. We each have our own reality that's based on our belief systems, our experiences, and our emotions. We filter the world around us through the filter of what we believe to be true, both about ourselves and the world. We filter what we see around us through the experiences that we've had, and we filter things based on the emotions that we're experiencing. So I had an instance recently when a client got a message from one of their clients that said, so-and-so told me X, Y, and Z. And they automatically, because of this story that they play in their head about not being good enough and everyone's against me and, everyone will let me down. That's one of the most common limiting beliefs, by the way. If I rely on someone or if I trust someone, they'll let me down. And that's the story that this client has been playing over and over in their head. So when they got this message from one of their customers, they said to me, oh, well, clearly I can't trust this person anymore. And I said, what concrete information do you have to back up what you're believing right now? Because this person was about to end a friendship based on their filters, right? Based on their need to be right. And when they stopped and took a moment and decided to ask more questions, rather than automatically going to that place of being right over happy, they chose to be happy in that moment, gather more information, ask more questions, and they found out that their perception of that event was totally unfounded. That they were about to end this friendship with somebody over something that wasn't even true. So how often for you do you assume that someone has been bad-mouthing you, or that you assume that what other people say is right or wrong, and it's had a negative impact? Have you thrown away a relationship, whether that's with a significant other or a friend or a family member, only to find out later that the way that you perceived that event you didn't have all the facts, except that in that moment you chose being right over being happy, and so you lost a relationship, you lost a contract, you lost business, money, whatever it was, because you chose to be happier over being right. So any time in the future that you are tempted to lash out or to choose being right over being happy, take a moment, take a step back, take a breath, and ask yourself, how do I know that this is true? And in this moment, do I want to be happy or do I want to be right? What does being right look like? Do I have to condescend somebody else? Do I have to put somebody else down? Is it limiting me from growing? Is there truth in what other people are saying? If I have a client who reaches out to me and says that they're not happy with something that I've done in my business, and I know that, they haven't been doing the work, or I know that they haven't been attending calls or watching videos or something like that, I could choose to be happy in that moment and say, or I could choose, to be right in that moment and say, well, you haven't been doing X, Y, and Z, so therefore what you're saying is completely wrong. Or I could choose to say, okay, I'm going to take that on board, and how can I fix this situation in the future? How can I choose to be happy here over being right? Ask yourself that question. How can I be happy over being right? If you want more of these tips and tricks to rewire your brain quickly and easily so that you have more happiness and success, head over to removemylimits.com. That is it for me today. I will talk to you all soon. Have an amazing Friday.